Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another Big Finish fans. Today, we're doing another throwback review, taking a look at the 10th Doctor Adventures of Volume 3 in celebration of David Tennant Catherine Tate returning to Doctor Who. Once again, I'm joined with Luke.
Yes, hello everyone. After last week's, we ended the stream and then had a little discussion about what should we do next because we weren't quite sure yet. And I think one of the first things we said was, let's not do another throwback review. We've done enough of those for a little while. And then we were going through a couple of options. About 5 minutes later, one of us said, do you know what? Should we just do 10th Doctor Adventures, Volume 3? Because we like our 10th Doctor and Donna.
We do.
And so here we are with another throwback review.
Yeah, and I mean, it's good to be doing it because I think it was a 3-year anniversary for it, like 2 weeks ago or a week ago.
Yeah, it was definitely May 2019, wasn't it?
And
when things were normal.
Yeah, it's amazing to think that in the space of that, how much 10th Doctor content we've had.
Yeah, that would have been just before it all exploded. Just a year and a bit because it was August 2020. We got Out of Time 1, and then from there it's just kept coming and coming.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting looking back on it, thinking how much we had to savor those 3 stories.
Especially when you consider Volume 1 was 3 years before that exactly. And you think in that time it was only Volume 1 and 2.
So you really had to savor every moment of like Tennant content you got, and now we're just living our best lives with David Tennant.
Yeah, it's come so far that he's even coming back to the TV screen.
It's still a mental thing just to see those pictures again.
Yeah.
It really is.
I've been on a real Tennant high recently. Like since we last spoke, I've watched Rise of Cybermen, Age of Steel, Silence and Library Forest of the Dead, even Planet of the Dead, and Waters of Mars. Planet of the Dead, probably the first time since 2009, I think.
Really?
That one. Yeah.
Wow. I don't think it's that bad.
No, I really enjoyed it.
But it's what you want. It's an Easter story. It's just sit down, have a little bit of a fun time with it.
I think it just came at a time where I was like drifting away from Doctor Who a bit, or starting to. I think I was getting into Star Wars a lot then, with Clone Wars going full swing around that time. And then I still watched it regularly, like on the day it came out, but I wasn't quite as hooked into it, I suppose.
I think because like the specials weren't, it was sort of dotted throughout the year, so you kind of could see as a kid you'd lose that interest, like it would waver a little bit.
Yeah, that was also, I was in secondary school by then, so like series 4 came out. I was year 6, and so a lot of friends who I watched who also watched Doctor Who, and we like discussed it a lot. A lot of them had gone off to different secondary schools. And so I think like the social aspect for me had died down then as well. Like, I wasn't online or anything, going into forums and stuff like that. So I didn't really have anyone else around me who watched it, so couldn't feel the hype as much, I suppose.
But then a couple of years later, you found a group of people, and here you are.
Yeah,
it's just history, really.
Yeah, still stuck around today.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's good. It is all good. So I guess we'll wait for a few people to join. I guess you've said a little bit what you've been doing, but what else have you been doing?
Also listened to 6th Doctor Waterworlds. Yeah, finished that set recently, so that's off to a pretty good start. I think we'll probably be talking about that next week or the week after sometime, so won't say too much. But Hebe is a great character. I'm loving her at the moment. How about you? What have you been up to?
Like you, I've been giving Waterworlds a little listen.
No.
And that sort of spiraled me off to dive into a bit more Colin, because I think Waterworlds ends such like a nice place, like it's a nice nod to the past. Big Finish 6th Doctor, and it made me go, you know what, I'm going to stick on the marrying conspiracy.
Yeah, there's a real handing the torch feel to it, isn't there?
Yeah, and again, both by Jack Rayner, Marine Conspiracy, and Waterworlds. Well, Rotting Deep, sorry.
Yeah.
So you can see why Jack was brought on to.
She was definitely a perfect person to take the 6th Doctor into this new era.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a pretty good box set so far from what I've listened to of it.
No. Have you just done the Rotting Deep so far then?
I've just done the Rotting Deep. I've been a bit sidetracked of other Big Finish stuff, like another 2019 release. I
Ah.
dived into the Enchantress of Numbers.
Oh, really?
You know when you're just randomly in the mood for like a story? I think you said last week where you've got to be in the mood for like certain box sets, or if you're not feeling it, don't listen to it.
Yeah, that's true.
So I was kind of like, you know what, I'm not feeling some Eccleston, I'm not feeling the War Doctor just yet. I'll stick that on, and you know what? Oh, it's such a good story, that.
Yeah, I remember really enjoying that one back then.
And it's just made me want to go, do you know what? Revisit Series 8 of Fourth Doctor again. That'd be great.
Finished the whole thing.
Why? I mean, you just
It's
forget how good Tom and Jane Slavin are
Yeah.
as a pair.
It's also, you sort of forget that Anne exists as sort of a separate character as well,
Yeah.
because she's very quickly been overtaken by Anya. Like, Anya's had more stories now, technically. Like, more screen time or audio time.
Listening time? I don't know.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, it's
But
just crazy how quickly it all happens.
It's literally in the space of 2 years, maybe a year, that's happened. Yeah, it's mental. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah. Like, we're already over a year away from Dalek Universe 1 now.
Damn. And that's just scary to think about, really, to think what releases were coming out last year this time and how hyped we were to now. It's like, completely different ball game.
Yeah, how many releases now we knew nothing about?
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a good little segue for the news.
Yeah.
With another surprise announcement,
which on the podcast a few times now, people have been writing in saying, "Where's Benny? Have you left Benny behind? What about the Unbound Doctor?" We haven't heard from these two in a while, because it was only 2020, really, wasn't it? But I imagine,
I think it was September, wasn't it?
Yeah, September 2020. I imagine lockdown sort of slowed that down a bit. But now we finally have some news on what they're up to next. I think this came at a good time for us as well, because we just finished novel adaptations. So we've been listening to a lot of Benny recently.
Yeah. Can I just start with what a cover?
Oh, brilliant cover. I mean,
Like,
Sean
we've been
Longmore,
a bit
isn't it?
sketchy
He
on
is the
some of the
goat of Big
covers.
Finish covers.
Oh yeah, he's taken Tom Webster's place for sure. But story-wise, sounds very promising. Sort of a War Master box set in a way, in terms of like structure, like one big story across 4 stories.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that aspect of it, because I feel like a lot of the time, especially with a cover like that, it's often just teasing one story from the set. Like, the I think the most infamous one that comes to mind is Countermeasures Series 2, where you've got the Yeti there.
Yes, yeah.
New Countermeasures Series 2, but then it turns out they're just in the final story, and then it's 4 separate ones. But this very much looks like a good way to build the tension across, and it's something that I've been wanting for a long while now. I'm pretty sure I probably mentioned it before on stream, but I've really wanted a Cyberman box set where it's a Doctor Who story of them across 3 or 4 episodes, because we've had it quite a few times with the Daleks now. I mean, Dalek Universe is pretty much them for 3 box sets. And now we're finally getting that for a Cyberman story, because other than the Cyberman spin-off, I don't think they've ever had anything longer than a 4-parter.
That's like the Cyber Reality.
But they're not even in half of that, are they?
No, it's only like the second half when they become a threat within it. I think it's Code Silver, I think, when they come into it.
Yeah, it sort of builds towards it from what I've heard, but they are also sort of separate episodes, the first 2. It's not quite the same as how the first 4 box sets are structured.
Yeah.
But yeah, this, I mean, I imagine they'll be in the background for a lot of the earlier stuff here, but it looks like they are still present throughout the whole story.
I mean, it's just nice to see variation of Cybermen on a cover. I think that this year's definitely given us that with like Silver and Ice.
The final at last the comeback of the wheel design.
I think that's what makes it exciting. She's like, oh wow, it's not just the Invasion Cybermen. You know, they're my favorite Cyberman design, but damn, there they are with like other Cybermen. It just adds a bit of variety. And I think, like you said, if it's sort of Cyberman like they're in the shadows, I think it will work and sort of build up to that sort of threat.
Yeah, they almost work better that way, don't they? Like the less of a overt presence they have, the creepier they become. Especially in this 1930s Germany setting. I think it's very spooky having the tomb emblem there on a Nazi flag.
It works though, isn't it? There's something quite chilling about it.
Yeah.
And I think having David Warner have like a proper Doctor Who monster going up against, I think that's a really nice little way to celebrate his Doctor. Because he's had the Master, but you know, you want him to face Cyberman, you know, the next big bad. He's done the Daleks.
Yeah, that's true. It's also crazy to think that he's been the Doctor for over 18 years now. 2003 was his first.
So yeah, I feel like this is a nice celebration. Maybe we can next year we get like an unbound 20 years of David Warner's Doctor, maybe.
Yeah, could do. But I mean, he's got the question marks on the lapel now as well. I'm pretty sure that's new, isn't it?
Yeah, because I think they were just using the standard like behind the scenes photos for his Doctor before, and now they've sort of edited like Capaldi's coat on like McGann. That's definitely McGann's hand.
Yeah.
From Night of the Doctor, that's for sure.
Yeah, like he's a nice amalgamation, isn't he? He's like not specifically copying one Doctor, but still feels very Doctor-y in his look.
I'm just here for it because I've missed him. I think that he's a great Doctor.
Some interesting episode titles as well. It's like all in German. Willkommen, Wolf. I can't quite read that one because I've got where it's Übermensch and Auf Wiedersehen. Which, I mean, I know 3 of those. Apparently, the third one is like Superman.
Okay.
Presumably referring to the Cybermen themselves and their unusual strength and such. Not sure about Wolf, though.
I should ask Mel, actually, because she does like Duolingo. And she does German, so she'd probably know what they are.
Yeah. Anyone in the chat know? I mean, we could easily just look them up.
Yeah, but we're lazy.
We'll get some fan engagement while we're here.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of the chat, hello yesterday. I really enjoy this and Darling Universe are my favorite 10th Big Finish audios. Well, we'll be talking about that soon, whether or not we agree.
Yeah. Quite nice to see 3 new writers in this match of stories. In this set, I should say.
Yeah, like Aaron Lamont did the Torchwood Lease of Life. I think, also done a fair few Dark Shadows. So been at the company for a while, but just now stepping more into the Doctor Who realms. Yeah, and then Roshana Patel did Short Trips Volume 11 and Torchwood One Nightmares Lola, which was a good one. So
okay.
And then who? I'm pretty sure they said Victoria Saxton is that. Oh no, Attagirl.
Right, there we go.
Yeah, is that? Was as a writer as well.
Okay, cool.
So it's like they're stepping into Doctor Who, most of them, for the first time.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting because like Bernie Summerfield's got quite an interesting history of sort of the Nazis and like just war and all that sort of stuff. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, really.
Yeah. If they reference it, do you think they'll make it explicit which version of Just War they're referencing? Because there was obviously the Seventh Doctor novel, but then Big Finish adapted it without Seventh Doctor and such, and it was just the Benny story. So
I think it'll probably be the Benny version, if anything.
Yeah, I think they'll probably try and leave it ambiguous, perhaps. But
But yeah, this is definitely going to be a pickup.
Yeah, I saw Sean Longmore out on Twitter saying this is the first cover since quite a long while where Benny's been holding a gun on it. But after the way the Nazis treated her in Just War, he felt it was pretty justifiable giving her one.
I mean, it makes it look quite badass, you know.
Yeah, very true.
Because I think the thing with like Benny is, as soon as River came along, it kind of made Bernie Summerfield feel a little bit redundant.
I think they'd been struggling to know what to do with her for a while as well. Like, I think because they relaunched the New Adventures when the sales weren't doing that well with her own range, didn't they?
Yeah,
but in some ways, it felt like they were keeping Benny around just because, she's like the first leading lady of Big Finish. She's the first one they ever did anything on. Like even before Doctor Who, they were doing Benny's. So it's like they couldn't really imagine Big Finish without her, but weren't quite sure what to do with her for a time. But now it looks like they've really found the stride with the Unbound Doctor.
And I think it's 30 years of Bernie Summerfield this year, I think.
Yeah, this October. I wonder if this is like to celebrate that, or if they've got something else in mind that'll come along the next month.
I mean, to be honest, this feels like a good celebration. Like, if it's got the Unbound Doctor in, I'm going to buy it, you know.
Yeah, we're still waiting for him to meet the 7th Doctor, or any Doctor, but I think this isn't the set to do that, and I think it's good to stick with just these two and the Cybermen and really delve into the story of...
I mean, could it be another secret cover again, like the Annihilators?
Could do. They like getting Sean Longmore to do those.
I mean, it's Volume 7 as well. 7th Doctor. Big brain energy there.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
But are you going to pick this one up?
Yeah, I will. I think I said, I was done with the Benny stuff for now, just because, not really because of anything against the sets, but just because Big Finish is expensive. You need to make sacrifices where you can. But this is a sacrifice I'm not willing to make.
I think that's the best way to close out a news story, really.
Yeah. I think one last thing with it's all in the 1930s setting as well. So you can really build up that world very nicely across the 4 stories. Really get into the horrors of the Nazis and the Cybermen.
I think, yeah, like you said, I think it allows it to be a slow burner.
Yeah. Hopefully goes quite dark as well.
I hope so, because, Bernie Summerfield, a bit more adult, I would say, as a character.
Yeah. Like with her origins in like the novels and sort of Virgin territory. It definitely lends itself to being that style, especially when you think of something like Just War.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of a darker tone.
Yeah, where are we going?
Yeah, 2 of Big Finish's more adult ranges are crossing over.
Yeah, this one was sort of not leaked, but sort of spoke out at Big Finish Day by Scott Hancock, I think, when they were doing that sort of celebration of Dorian Gray.
Yeah, because he's like producer on both of them, isn't he?
Yeah, they're very much his Scott Hancock's babies, really, these two.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not really a fan of Dorian. Well, I've not got anything against Dorian Gray. I've just not listened to any Dorian Gray, so I can't really have an opinion either way. It's like not a rabbit hole I'm willing to go down. Like we say, Big Finish is expensive, so I can't really say I feel anything for this at the moment.
I mean, I got the freebie first episode, but I've never listened to it. And I've heard only but good things about Dorian Gray. But like you say, there's only so much time and money. But he's only in the last story, isn't he?
Yeah. I mean, it's called Escape from Reality. So you think, could this be Land of Fiction territory with the War Master? Could we be getting other fictional characters across the other stories?
Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah, Riggs in there as well.
I'm surprised they haven't done something like that. I mean, they did like the Worlds of Big Finish. So maybe I feel like that probably has more of an appeal having Derek Jacobi in. So, don't know.
Yeah, we'll see what they do with this.
Yeah, I can't really say too much on it at this point because we've only got the story title, is it, and the name of the box set.
Yeah, just the last story. The writers as well. Like it's 4 writers again across the 4 episodes. So not what we've had with the War Master from volumes 2 to 6, but yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
We've got self-defense first before we can get excited about that.
Yeah, that's only a month away now. I mean, imagine that'll be around the middle of the month to tie in with Utopia's anniversary. I can't quite remember the exact date. It's somewhere in there.
It will be on I think it'll be on a Thursday that will drop.
I
think. I guess our next bit of news is River Song versus the Autons.
Yeah, we're sandwiching the War Master between 2 archaeologists.
Isn't he a lucky man?
Especially with these 2 archaeologists.
Oi, behave.
But yeah, I'm really excited for this set.
Are you?
Yeah. Something about it's just tickling me, I suppose.
I mean, it's got a nice cover.
Yeah. There's no big gimmick for this one, which I'm fine with. Like, it just seems like they're telling interesting stories from across River's timeline. And we've got a while back we reviewed The Grey Mare on stream, and we really loved that story. And the writers of that, Lauren Mooney and Stuart Pringle, are coming back to do River Song versus the Autons.
Yeah. The Autons have not been used that much on Big Finish as well, so I guess it's nice to see them have a bit. Well, it's kind of year of the Autons on Big Finish with the 5th Doctor as well.
Yeah, 2 months in a row of Auton content. It's like waiting for buses, isn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like that classic thing when Big Finish announce something and they do it like a couple months early, like the Fendal, and then you had the Masters in River Song, and then Ravenous 4. So it just sort of is a wink and nod to that time, really. 2019.
Yeah, but this doesn't feel like it's stealing the thunder from 5th Doctor 40.
No.
Yeah, because these are 2 very different types of story, for one thing, and also the Autons have been in Big Finish before. And I think I don't want to say they're not bland in that sense, but they're very much like a blank canvas. There's a lot you can do with an Auton. And so I think we can get 2 very different kinds of stories between this and 5th Doctor 40.
Because is Other Dave going to be an Auton? Or
I don't think he's going to be in the last story. So he's already
in the last one.
Because we're going into River Song's digital afterlife here. So after
Firewall
library. Yeah. So that's where we get Other Dave involved.
That's going to be exciting.
Yeah, I think, like I say, it's opening up the whole of River Song's timeline, not just when she was alive, but also when she was dead.
Isn't it a cherry box?
Yeah. I mean, like, you got the thing that was on her screwdriver there on the cover as well, like the life sign.
Well, that was on the spacesuit, wasn't it, as well?
Yeah. I can't remember what it's called though, which is bad because I didn't watch it that long ago.
Fake fan.
Yeah.
It will come to you.
You've also got the Other River Song now on the cover as well.
Oh yeah.
Because it seems when she finds her own tomb, it's someone who is River Song but doesn't look like her. So intriguing as well. Tim Foley, that one. So.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah. I mean, are you picking this one up?
I probably will.
You've got the Yellow 9, haven't you? So
yeah. I mean, I'm not exactly going to chicken out and shy out of the range now. I think I'm too far gone.
Yeah. It's weird. It doesn't really feel all that celebratory of it being the 10th, but at the same time, because every other box set has had some sort of gimmick for the most part, it seems right for this to celebrate by focusing just on River a bit more.
And I think as well, we've had the obvious thing is say 10th Doctor and River, 10 for 10. But we had that in 2020, so I guess
we're getting David Tennant all over the place at the moment as well. Anyway, so
I mean, I'm not complaining.
I mean, you could still get a cameo in this set.
That is true. Yeah.
That's not outside the realms of possibility.
I mean, it has been done before, and I don't think that's spoiling where the cameos
No.
are.
Yeah, there's certainly more than one of them out there to be found. It's like it's an Easter egg hunt, isn't it? Find the Tennant.
We can do like a little tier list on like the Tennant cameos.
Okay.
That'd be fun. Add it to a 10th Doctor tier list.
There we go.
But yeah, that's the other bit of news. Other bit of news is Classic Doctor's New Monsters has been pushed forward.
Yeah, we're getting that
to
July now. That's like the normal Classic Doctor's New Monster slot, really, isn't it? It feels like it's coming home.
I swear Volume 2 was August, though, or September.
No, I'm pretty sure.
Was it always July?
July. Yeah.
Oh, I can't really remember. I mean, it's been a long time since that dropped, and a lot of audios have been listened to since then.
Yeah, 2017. Wow. Yeah, it's been. It'll be 5 years exactly.
That makes it even more fitting then. So yeah, July, busy month. Got Bambera, Beyond Wall Games, and the audio novels and Tortured. So yeah, good month for compared to last July. It's a busy one because last July it was just Scourge of a Cybermen and Dalek Universe 2.
Yeah, that was it really. Well, I mean, there was Lady Christina as well, but we didn't get that one. So
great theme tune.
Saved a bit of money there.
Yeah, that's all I could say on Lady Christina.
Yeah, and then Gallifrey War Room has been pushed to August as well. So like they've swapped places.
Yeah, that's true. That's true, yeah. Just have to wait and see. So I guess before we do our little review of the 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 3, should we have a quick look in the chat?
Yeah, let's see what people are saying. Hello, Thomas Hooker, and hello, Dr. Disco. Thank you for both joining.
Hello.
Evening, chaps. How goes it? Says Thomas Hooker. Wait, I think we are doing pretty well.
Yeah, I think so. We're here talking about Doctor Who, so it's a good night. It's a good time.
Well, I'm an upcoming writer currently involved with BBV Productions. They've been around for over 30 years, making Doctor Who spin-off films and audio dramas. Congratulations.
Well done.
Yeah, my first idea for them will be a Lovecraftian sci-fi / cosmic horror story called Forbidden Unknown, which will release on their website sometime this year. Very cool.
Very, very exciting for you.
Yeah. And Thomas Hooker's got to go back to business. Cheerio. Thank you for tuning in for a little bit.
Thank you, and hopefully the writing goes well for you.
Yeah, keeping our fingers crossed for you. Dr. Disco says, hello, long-time listener, first-time caller, etc.
We love a lurker. Love a lurker.
I say you have been in the chat before, Dr. Disco. Am I going mad? Usually it's the other way around. You forget someone who's been in the chat, but this time I'm thinking, no, I swear you have.
I mean, we do them weekly, and we've done nearly a year's worth of streams regularly. So they all kind of blend into one, but it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, maybe get mad a bit. Well, thank you for writing into us, Dr. Disco. Just wondered if either of you have heard the Bernard Kay interview on the Sirens of Audio podcast. He briefly mentions directing a space security service series. Could that be a new Anya Kingdom spin-off? Have you heard his interview?
I mean, I listened to the Sirens of Audio, and they do great stuff. But I've not listened to that one actually. I think I started to because he's talking about the River Song story he wrote for Series 10. But I don't think I've got to that bit in the actual podcast. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if they did. Because one thing what we really enjoyed about Dalek Universe was Anya and Mark 7. I think Jane Slavin's recorded an audio novel, hasn't she?
Yeah, I believe so. There was something about that a while back.
Whether that's part of that, I don't know. But would you be down for a space security spin-off?
I think it seems like something that's already been tried before because we did have that Daleks spin-off, didn't we? Also, given where Dalek Universe leaves Anya Kingdom, I'm not sure if that really. I suppose it would have to be before.
Yeah, it would have to be.
Because it's more Earth Protection Corps by then. But yeah, I'm sure there's something interesting that could be done there. It's an interesting one, really.
A recast. But to be fair, we could have Brett Byron. Get John Coltrane. Yeah, we could have that maybe.
Yeah, go back to before Dalek's Master Plan, even.
Get a recast. Well, I suppose they would recast Sarah Kingdom.
Yeah, I think G. Marsh hasn't been recording with them for a while, actually, not since Sontarans.
Yeah, and I think that was a bit of a struggle for them to record because, like, she was reading the words backwards. But yeah.
Yeah, I think there's certainly potential there with Space Security Service.
I mean, anything can be a spin-off. We've got the robots, which is a beloved spin-off by you. You really like the robots, so I think anything's possible now, really.
Yeah, and I suppose if it does feature Anya Kingdom, that'd be a good way to keep that character going, because I think when it comes to the Doctor, at least, she sort of burnt up the possibilities there.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so I think a good way to keep her going by herself. Mark 7 as well.
Yeah, I'd be down for more Mark 7.
Yeah, so there certainly is potential there. But yeah, I suppose, should we get diving into 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 3?
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah, back before they had subtitles.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's all good stuff back in then.
I mean, what do you think could work as a subtitle for this set?
I don't know.
Sort of putting you in the hot seat there. Yeah, I don't envy the people who have to brainstorm all of these.
Disaster.
I don't. Oh, is that a harsh opinion on this set?
No. I know. I just think they're both. Well, two of them are quite disaster movie-esque.
Yeah, they are.
But what would you call it? What would you subtitle the box set?
I mean, Partners
A Noble
in Crime
Return?
already taken. Yeah, maybe.
I don't know.
Smith and Noble.
The Adventures of Clom. God, I love Clom.
Ghosts, Water, and Smog.
Elements, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. That's pure speculation.
There's a reason we don't come up with titles.
That's the reason why we're doing these things. Do you want to give your opening thoughts on the set? Like, what were your sort of initial reaction when this box set came out? And then I guess we'll give our updated thoughts on the set.
Yeah, I mean, I think back then it was just exciting getting any Tennant, really, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
And so to know that this was coming was a huge delight, especially in the old limited edition booklet packaging, which, I mean, this is the last version of that. Like, after that, they went to those weird towering boxes like Masterful and Legacy of
Time. I think that this is the best limited edition one they've done.
Yeah, it's got the concept art in it, hasn't it?
You've got the concept art, you've got a storyboard by Mike Tucker, the costume designs by June Hudson. There's a lot going on within this one, so I think there's a lot to enjoy within this one, actually.
Yeah, it's a real labour of love.
You can tell effort's gone into this one.
Yeah, certainly. And it's sort of like, it puts a lot of what we get nowadays to shame, really, doesn't it? Because they really have dialed back on what you get physically.
It is amazing, isn't it? In the space of like 3 years, how sort of the physical stuff has slowly become lesser and less. Like it's all like jewel case, slip cases now, isn't it?
Yeah,
slip covers.
I mean, we're getting 10th Doctor Classic Companions, which is just going to be a slipcase, it seems.
Which is a real shame, because you think that box set lends itself for the individual cover art. It still might have it, I don't know, but it's looking less and less likely to have.
Yeah. But yeah, as for this set at least, it was just exciting getting 10th Doctor and Donna back again, really, wasn't it?
I think the first story definitely has that like pull factor where like, oh my god, it's like Sylvia and Wilf. Like that was an event in itself.
Like going back to that very 2008 feel, really, wasn't it? Like we all loved Wilf back in the day, so it's great getting more of him in this.
And I didn't think they would have him as well.
No,
I'm kind of surprised. I forgot how much he's in it as well.
Yeah, he's a very key player in that first episode.
But I think that this box set, it's interesting sort of reevaluating the 10th Doctor adventures, because with these adventures for us, there is a lot of sort of rose tinted glass stuff in it, because it's our Doctor Who. It's hard not to like be all smiling happy with it, and I think looking at the 10th Doctor Adventures Volume 1, it was very safe. But they've played to like the gimmicky nature of the 10th Doctor. But then you get to sort of Volume 3, and I think the 10th Doctor's pretty much there.
Yeah, like I think David Tennant and Catherine Tate from the start were fully formed in their characters, really. It was more just Big Finish working out what they actually want to do with the 10th Doctor, and like how they can recreate the era in a way that isn't derivative of it. And certainly you can feel the growing pains in Volume 1. I think in this set, it's where it feels fully formed.
And I don't think it's a spoiler to say, but I think that this is the best of the 3 volumes of the 10th Doctor stuff.
I would agree.
Like, excluding Dalek Universe, Out of Time, and River Song, I think that out of the first 3 volumes, this is the one I would get.
Yeah, I mean, they all work as perfectly fine jumping on points. You can even get the episodes individually as well, like in their own little jewel cases.
But we don't roll that way.
No. Which ones have gone out of print? Because I think
they've recently been put on to like go out of print, haven't they? So, which is a bit of a shock, really.
Yeah. Okay, so limited edition of Volume 2 is still around.
Okay.
And pretty sure limited edition of Volume 3 will be as well.
Yeah, I think it is. Like, if you haven't got that limited edition, get it. It's definitely worth it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, maybe wait until it's on sale again, because it is like 45 quid at the moment.
Yeah, maybe not 45 quid, but it's 3 stories. David Tennant Big Finish, which again I think was on the first 2 limited edition ones as well, and then the making of. So
yeah, I mean, I don't think anyone really bothers with that other disc, do they?
I listened to it just to see what it was back in the day, but I can't say it's one what I'll actively put on.
It's very much for new listeners, isn't it? Like they put that there because they know people will be getting into Big Finish for the first time because it's David Tennant, and so they're using that as sort of like a way to plug what else they're up to and try and get people to buy more, which is fair enough. They're a business.
Yeah, but I feel like by the time you got to Volume 3, I think people probably know about Big Finish and David Tennant.
Yeah, I think most
on it.
are probably over it by then.
This is 4 years into the new series license.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think they've pretty much established themselves.
That was such a big deal back in the day, though.
It was.
Series license, but now that feels so long ago and so like small fry news.
Well, compared to like the news we get now, it's nothing, If we could say to like us in 2015, by the way, in about 5 years' time you'll have Eccleston, we'd be like, no, you're pulling a leg. That's a good joke. Move on.
That's pretty much new series content monthly, isn't it?
I think that's why I really vibe with last year's Doctor Who content, because it was the Big Finish for our generation. And I think, compared to like this year, I'm kind of missing it in a way.
Yeah, like certainly the new series stuff really did dwarf the, maybe not dwarf as such, but I think it probably did outweigh the classic series.
Yeah, because you had the end of the monthly range, and then it was so much like, all right, the new series Doctors are going to guide Big Finish to the end of the year. You might have your odd classic Doctor box set throughout, but not much.
Yeah. Hello, Stylish One. Welcome.
Hello.
We're just getting into the review here. So yeah, I suppose should we dive into the first story then? No Place. You've got it loaded up there, ready?
Yeah. I've got it all loaded up. Now, what was interesting about this when this set came out, me, you, and James all had 3 different favorites.
Yeah, we did. I think.
So it's going to be interesting to see whether our favorites are still our favorites, and this one was your favorite. Is it still the case?
I think I'm going to save that actually.
Oh,
Leave it to be
okay.
a bit of a tea. I mean, should we reveal what the other 2 favorites were?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So James's favorite was 1 Mile Down, and then your favorite was, of course, The Creeping Death.
Yeah.
And so I think that was when we realized how strong this set was, because we'd all balanced out across the board. I think even like our second favorites and third favorites were different as well. I'm not. Maybe not.
I don't know about that, but I know that each of our favorites were different.
Yeah. Actually, I think both of our least favorites might have been the same. Actually, yours and mine.
Yeah.
Should we say 1 Mile Down?
Yeah, I can say that. I can say that.
I mean, it's kind of already worked out anyway. Did a process of elimination.
Yeah.
If we both liked No Place and Creeping Death, which one is going to be our bottom?
I wonder.
Yeah. I mean, is that still the case? We will find out. But first, No Place. The present day Earth story. All these first 3 sets very much copied that basic Ross Davis format, start of the series, with you have your present, and then you have either past or future, and then whichever one opposite after that for the last story. I mean, what do you make of that as a format for a box set?
I think it helps the writers get in the mindset of the era. And I think when you listening to it, like from No Place to The Creeping Death, you definitely feel like you're having that sort of start of a series feel to it.
I'm not so sure there actually about No. I feel like No Place is much more of a middle of the series story, just because it is really different. Technophobia is definitely a series opener. Same with Infamy of the Zaros. I wouldn't say No Place feels like an opener.
Well, I feel like No Place would be like a midnight slot, if anything.
Yeah, exactly. And that's no slight against it. If anything, I mean, I think Midnight is a better story than Partners in Crime. I think I probably would rather stick on Partners in Crime, but if I'm looking at it, if I'm looking at it quality-wise, I will say Midnight is the better of the 2, I suppose. But yeah, and No Place, like you say, it does sort of fit that more towards the end of the series slot, where it is something more experimental. I mean, I think that's what works well for this volume, is that it can get a bit more experimental. It doesn't feel like it's playing it as safe as Volume 1 was.
Well, it's got 6 stories behind it, so it's like you said, it's allowed to fully form the characters. And I feel like the gimmickiness is still the gimmicky stuff is still there, but it's not as front and center as it was in Volume 1.
Yeah, okay. It feels more natural gimmickiness. It feels like how it would be at the time.
Yeah.
Like naturally woven into scripts, whereas with the earlier volumes, it almost feels like they've seen that in the Series 4. They've sort of taken it out and then stitched it on in a way. They haven't quite massaged it in, I suppose.
But it works well because, like, sort of Tennant's often described as like Tigger. The Creeping Death has like a little reference going always like Tigger. Like, it doesn't play to that energetic nature of Tennant's Doctor. It's just like a little passing remark about his Doctor. It doesn't have to shove it in your face.
They don't feel like caricatures as such in the writing.
Yeah.
They feel much more fully formed characters again, which is great. And again, that was more down to the writing rather than the acting.
Yeah. So they all bring their A game within these volumes. But speaking of characters, I think that this is a lovely, creepy character piece of the story.
Yeah, it's very much focused on the presenter of the show, isn't it? I can't remember quite his name.
Justin, I think.
Yeah.
Is it Justin?
The plot is there's a TV show called Haunted Makeovers, which feels very much early 2000s, doesn't it? It very much fits that.
Yeah.
Homes Under the Hammer with haunted houses.
Most haunted, isn't it? I guess, yeah. Because there was
Yeah.
going to be like a most haunted story, wasn't it? And that would have been, was it the midnight slot? Was it?
Yeah, that was the midnight slot actually.
And I guess
'Cause
that's
it
why
was
that story hasn't been made for like Lost Stories, because like
yeah.
we've got it in no place.
Was that Stephen Fry's script? Or
I
was he
think,
doing something?
or was that series? Yeah, I feel like it was around about that time, maybe series 2.
No. I think the most haunted thing actually might have been floating around for a while. But I
Hmm.
think that was something they were floating around in series 3, and then it didn't end up finding a slot, so it went back to series 4 and then didn't end up finding a slot there either. But yeah, that would have been more Donna, Wilf, and Sylvia sitting down to watch TV, and suddenly the 10th Doctor's there on their screens. Whereas this is, they're very much in the heart of the show themselves. They've brought a house in Chiswick, this old, like almost seems like a mansion, doesn't it?
It's like is it a rectory? Is it?
Yeah, I think that's what they say
And
it is.
they sort of go through the history of it. It used to be like a community center, and the caretaker set the building on fire because like of what was haunting it. It will build the building up very well. So it sets the atmosphere, and I think the structure of a story done like a little edit, like the camera's on, and it will use like the little like static to say that it's cut to the next scene. So I think there's a nice little
Yeah.
framework within this story.
Yeah, you can very much imagine it being done free cam for a lot of it.
You feel like it would suit like the Sleep No More type feel, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah. And it's like because you're sort of viewing these characters from the outside looking in rather than the inside looking out with the main quartet, I suppose, we've got here.
Yeah.
Because they're acting slightly off for a good reason. And so that allows them to have a bit of fun. I think there are like scenes from outside the TV show's perspective as well, aren't they? So it's
We
not.
always get a sort of reference. Are you recording this, or it's like no, everything's going to be cut together. So like the cameras are constantly rolling within it, even in like the quieter character moments.
Yeah. But I think it's nice that it doesn't feel restrained by the format. It doesn't feel like it's sticking specifically to what's going to be a show.
Yeah.
And so you have that as a nice framework at the start, but then gradually more and more stuff sort of like gets peeled away as the layers of the story go. And so there's one good jump scare in this, like around the middle when they're down in the crypt. Well, not quite the crypt, but it's basically a crypt.
Yeah. When they discover like the little prison, yeah.
Yeah, that got me.
I mean, I was listening to it last night, and I did find myself jumping in a couple of places.
Yeah.
I was just listening to this in the dark. It just hits different. Like I listened to this one. I was like, I'm saving this for nighttime. Like I don't feel like it would do the story just if I listened to it in the daylight. But damn, I did find myself going, whoa. There's a couple of jump scares I feel within this one.
Yeah. I think quite a few just creepy moments in general as well. Like there's ectoplasm running down the walls and stuff leaking into the coffee cups or into the what was it, spaghetti hoops.
Yeah, is it blood or is it just rusty water? Like it really has some great sort of horror visuals within it, and it plays with like the horror tropes, like all rooms going cold. It really lends itself for the horror aspect of it.
Yeah. You have like the motion sensor cat that meows if a ghost goes past it, and then obviously that gets used a fair bit. I think this is probably the strongest like story for Sylvia. Like not just on Big Finish, but ever.
Yeah.
Because I mean she's sort of like the butt of a lot of jokes on TV, really. Like
I mean there's some butt to the jokes in like this box set about Sylvia, which is great.
Yeah. We need something, what was it? From Creeping Death. We need something spiky and
It's Not Your Mother.
Negative and spiky.
Yeah, there we go.
And it's Donna goes, oh, we could get my mum. Not that spiky.
But yeah.
It's going back to the Unicorn and the Wasp, isn't it? Salt. No, that's too salty. It was that same style of humor.
I definitely got a bit of that sort of ness within this story as well, actually. I think that this story sort of would have worked within series 4 because you have the whole sort of joke about, oh, are you a couple? And they have the 10th Doctor and Donna be that couple for the sake of this haunted makeover show, which is great because, like, did you just boop me? Yes, I did. It really plays to James Goss's strength of humor within it, because James Goss, you're gonna get a fun script, fun witty script, and this is definitely that. You have some wonderful, sort of beautiful character moments. I love the scene between Wilf and Justin about the fire. It was the first beautiful thing mankind made, and that's what the Doctor is. He's sort of that fire in between that stops the darkness, you know. And I think that was some real beautiful dialogue about that, really.
Yeah. And then you cut to the end, and he's melting marshmallows in the bag.
It's just nice having Wilf, to be honest.
I loved how Bernard Cribbins played that. Like, the scene's carrying on, and in the background you just hear him going, "Oh." Disappointed as he realised what he's done to the marshmallow.
Oh, it's great. Oh, wow. It's definitely worth it. Like, just the way it builds and height. It has that classic sort of horror trope, like anti-climax, and you get the climax of the jump scare of the horror. It works very well.
Yeah, it builds you up a bit, then drops you off again.
And then it'll surprise you.
Yeah, like it winds you up and then doesn't release you, so you're still wound up even when it's not winding anymore, because you're like waiting for that release.
Yeah,
it's great stuff, this first episode.
It just sets the tone for the box set brilliantly, I feel. Like, you know, this is going to be a fun ride.
And also, like we say, it's something different as well. It's not derivative of anything we got on TV at the time. It doesn't feel like, oh, this is Partners in Crime 2.0 or something. It feels very much like its own story, but it still fits nicely into Series 4. I mean, where do you imagine these stories take place in terms of Series 4?
I feel like Creeping Death... I mean, I'm jumping the gun a lot, but I feel like Creeping Death would be quite sort of in the first half of a series, because you've got a reference to Pompeii. So I feel like it'll be a very much an early story, that one. I think 1 Mile Down, I feel, again, that'll be quite early Series 4. Maybe just before, like, your big two-parter, like for 7 and 8.
Yeah, I feel like maybe the whole set is in that, like, gap just before Silence in the Library. After
But I think No Place is after the library one, because there's like, oh, something bad happened, and that's why we're doing this. Because there's a little reference to that, I think.
Oh, an interview. Yeah.
In No Place, there's like something bad happened between them two, so they're like, this is why we're doing this. So I was like, oh, it's from the library, of like Donna being haunted by it. So that's how I made inferences with it.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. Yeah, there's definitely that line. It's like during the interview with Justin, where the Doctor does mention like something like that, but I can't. And then he's saying, "Oh, this is the way to rebuild your marriage."
Yeah, that's it.
But yeah, it's not. I can't remember how explicit that was about. Yeah, but that could be. Yeah.
That was just me just thinking, oh, it's after the library.
Yeah, because I know Donna Noble kidnapped. That all takes place just after the library.
Yeah, which would make sense for this.
Yeah, so I do. Just take a look in the chat. Stylish one says, "No Place is my favourite 10th Doctor adventure. I adore the format. The plot is intriguing. I love the characters in this. It has Wilf. He's like 8 out of 10 by himself. And hot take, I was surprised by the plot twist. 9 out of 10.
I mean, if I was to be negative about it, I do still feel like the ending's a bit rushed.
Yeah, I would agree there.
Like everything else, like... Again, maybe it's playing into that horror format where you're wound up and you don't get the release you want from it. I don't know. Maybe it's like a little clever way of referencing that. I don't know, but I still think
it's hard to understand quite what's going on, especially on a first listen. You do sort of need to go back and piece together exactly what's happening in that resolution. Like, I think it makes sense, but it's just it needed to hold your hand a little bit more, I suppose. It does. Like, I think especially because the whole story is like this series of different haunted events taking place. Like, you sort of have that. It's almost like a series of sketches in a way, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because one thing happens and then we sort of move on from it. And so by the time you get to the ending, it feels just like it goes too quickly. Like, it needed to feel a bit more like a resolution. Yeah, I say, yeah, that's the only really thing I really have that's taking away from this story. I'd say it's an 8 out of 10 for me. How about you?
I'll go. I say 9.
Ah,
I really enjoyed it. I think it's good. It's definitely prepare yourself for jump scares, because I jumped in a few places which I forgot. I knew there was one, and I thought that was towards the end, but I forgot about the crypt one.
Yeah, the crypt one's definitely one of the ones that got me.
So
That was definitely catches you off guard, that one.
Right, should we move on to our next one then?
Yeah, let's have a look at 1 Mile Down, which was our least favourite from memory. So is this one perhaps improved on re-listen? Stardron also says, I've only heard Volume 2 and Volume 3 of 10th Doctor Adventures, but this is my favourite volume of the two. Yeah, we agree there. I will say the standard edition covers aren't up to much, especially compared to how great the standard edition covers of Volume 2. This set was also the best deal I've ever gotten. I entered the Big Finish competition and won the limited edition for free. Congratulations. That's probably like one of the best prizes you can win for free.
Oh, yeah. Finish. Nice limited edition.
1
Mile
as for
Down.
the covers, I feel like 1 Mile Down's the most disappointing cover. But I quite like the other two. I feel like Creepy Death.
I feel like this one suits. It feels like a Doctor Who book cover. This one. It looks like what you'd get in like a quick read, or that sort of news.
I think they all do. Really.
No Place does as well. Yeah.
Yeah, like you can imagine them above. I mean, when you look at the reverse covers, the alternative ones with the logo from the time, that's when you really get that feel to them. But yeah, 1 Mile Down. We're going off into the future now with a Judoon story of sorts. I mean, they're not like the main focus on it, but they are.
Their furniture, I feel. Their set dressing.
But it doesn't feel like they're there for the sake of it.
One thing I noticed, this might just be weird, but I think around about this time, the Judoon were announced coming back to the show for Series 12.
Yeah, it might have been around that time, actually.
And there was a line what Tennant said about Judoon near the lagoon, and there's a little line in future for Judoon near the lagoon. I'm like, oh, who stole what?
Yeah.
Because obviously this story got approved by BBC, so I don't know. Maybe that's a good line to Nick. We'll put that in here.
Yeah, Tennant does it better.
All right. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you there.
I mean, yeah, I'm not going to... I think it's not worth spending our time dissecting a single line and saying why.
Yeah. Just preference.
Yeah.
So yeah, 1 Mile Down. What do you make of it?
I mean, it's an interesting premise. I like the message that it has going for it, because you have this great underwater city, which the Doctor's been to before. He remembers swimming around in it in the Great Spire and such. But as tourism has taken over more and more, this whole city is now enclosed in a glass dome for the comfort of visitors. Meanwhile, the original inhabitants, the Finns, are there in helmets themselves, with breathing the water from that. And so it's very obvious where this story is going with that, with the exploitation of these natives. And I think it's a good message for this story to have. I will say, especially, and like when it comes to the preservation of ancient treasures as well and such.
I think they suit series 4 as well, because like you had like the half and like the Vashnarada, like that sort of spacesuit creature. They just fit that series 4 aesthetic very well.
Yeah, I think of the three, this is the one I can least imagine. No, just because I think the budget wouldn't stretch to it as such. Yeah, not like mainly because of the water dome. I think they'd have to sort of do what Underwater Menace does, for example, and have it all be in caves instead, or like inside cathedrals and such.
I mean, it suits like the adventure game sort of thing what they had for the Vashnarada. It sort of has that feel to it in a way, but not like in a grimy space sea base. It's obviously this glorified sort of dome.
Yeah. And you also got the interesting messages when it comes to Donna's racist friend, as she ends up calling him towards the end.
Yeah.
Where, you know, the Finns or the Valarasi, they're sort of seen as these lazy locals. And there's a lot of alien racism going on as well. And so I think it's got some good messaging in this one.
I love Tennant confronting the racist man. When it's like, oh, what planet are you from? Like Polybius 6. What happened to the other 5?
Yeah.
That's just him shooting him down. Good stuff.
But I just don't know if the plot really does too much for me still.
I can safely say that this is still my least favourite.
I'd agree.
Of the 3.
I don't know whether I enjoyed it more or less this time.
I still prefer it to Time Reaver.
I agree.
But it's all right. It's all right.
It's got a lot more charming moments in it, such as Chloe, the Jadoon Jr.
I love Chloe. He's a great addition, and I wanted him on the cover.
Yeah, he'd look so good, wouldn't he?
And it feels very sort of 2008 because you've got Donna wearing Crocs, and you know I guess Crocs were a new thing for back then. I don't know.
Yeah, I suppose so.
You
could sort of like imagine her doing it. Like she's sort of aware that she's made a bad choice there, but she's got to stick with it now. She's not gonna let the Doctor have this one, so she's sticking to her guns and standing by the Crocs. And I love how that sound effect is used throughout. Like you can hear the squeaking as she's going around. They fully commit to it.
I feel like this story sort of has sort of the sort of quite bombastic, like Voyage of the Damned. It's kind of that disaster movie feel to it. I think it works for the most part.
Yeah. It's nice how the H2O scoop comes into play as well. Like they're using already set up stuff for the Jadoon, but in a different way to how it has been before.
And it's quite interesting because you've got a character. I can't remember the actress's name, but she plays Violet Hardacre in The Blazing Hour, playing very much the same type of character within this story. You know how she's exploiting the Valyrassians with like making them pay for their own, you know, space, well, sort of water suits, I guess.
Yeah, she's very much telling them what's good for them, and sort of doing it with a smile while also stabbing them in the back. I think she's certainly an interesting character in this story.
Yeah, I mean it's decent. I don't think there's really much to say on it.
Yeah, like it's a lot of it is on the surface, ironically, for a story titled 1 Mile Down.
It's a nice, easy listen. Like it's one way you can sort of dip in and out, and you still know what's going on.
Was that another water pun there?
Oh, see, it's just happening with punny guys.
Yeah. They just slip and slide out, don't they?
Oh, he's on a roll, is he?
Oh dear. I think it
Still on.
didn't help that I was listening to this box set and Waterworlds at the same time, like going from one to the other.
Mhm.
That this was very much like the third story on a water planet I'd listened to.
Oh, got a bit of fatigue then.
Yeah, I suppose so.
I mean, I found that Jadoon provides some nice comedy of like, don't touch precious things.
Oh yeah, the Doctor Donna comparing them to old ladies.
Yeah, which is nice.
And
I
then
like
like
that.
being very literal, arresting people after the exhibits fall on them because they're collapsing.
Criminal damage. It's great, you know.
Yeah. I will say sometimes it's like hard to imagine quite what's going on because like you're led to believe there's this massive dome, but then also the buildings seem to be flooding from the inside at times.
Mm.
Like you wonder quite how that's working out. But
I guess we do rating for it.
yeah, how harsh are we going to be? You go first.
I don't think I'm going to be that harsh on it. I'd say 7.5 or an 8.
Oh, really?
Like I still enjoyed it, but compared to like the others, it just naturally falls to the wayside.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's hard to talk about, I suppose. There's not really
It's
too
wrong
much.
to say basic, but it is quite a basic story.
Yeah, like I think you're not gonna get. It's not worth getting on its own, but as like an extra bit of filling in a box set, it's fine.
It just makes the other two stories just seem greater.
Yeah, I'll go 7 out of 10 for this one.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be
Should we
nice.
move on to our third and final story then?
Yeah, let's go for it. The Creeping Death now.
Creeping Death.
Yeah, we're going into
The only one
past,
to
into
get a
90s.
vinyl release.
Yeah, I mean, no place almost did, but
It was canned.
Didn't
I
quite.
mean, I can see it working on vinyl, but I think the Creeping Death is the most suited for vinyl because obviously it's 1950s, is it? Yeah, 1952.
Set during a real event as well, with the great like smog of London, where there's a real pea super here, and like it's even where I can't quite remember the exact science about it, but there's like an inverted cyclone or something above London sending stuff back down, and so the air becomes toxic, and a lot of people end up choking. And I mean, I think what was it, 12,000 at least? Like they kept the official numbers down. But yeah. And then from there, this inspired the Clean Air Act. But this is all history that before this story, I knew nothing about.
It's quite interesting because I think when this came out, The Crown was dealing with the smog as well. So it was like in the space of the same year, we had like stories very much the same. And I think that maybe this is why I enjoy this story because it's taken bits of history what we should know.
It's similar to Demons of the Punjab in that sense.
Yeah, very much so.
Yeah. And it does shock you to learn like why do we not know something like this? Like with some stories, you understand why you don't know this already. But when it comes, this is like very much our own history, British history.
Yeah.
Same with Demons of the Punjab, where I mean, that's not our history as such, but it's very much us affecting others' history, really. With the partition of India, that's very much it's the consequences of our actions, pretty much. And so, but with that, you can see why we weren't taught it in the bad sense that it makes us look bad, which is accurate.
That's just British history.
We were the villains there. Like, there's no getting around that. So you can understand why they wouldn't want to teach that, even though they should. You know, you got to learn from your history, otherwise you repeat it. With this, it's weird because we're not quite the villains in that sense. And so it does feel like this is something that should be more well known. Especially because it's the 50s. Like, this is very recent. I mean, when was Demons of the Punjab, actually? That was 50s, wasn't it? Late 40s?
I want to say like, I want to say like 46, 48. I want to say.
I mean, certainly. It's about Yaz's gran, so can't be that much further back. Yeah. I mean, speaking of that, you get a nice line from Donna where she's talking about how Gramps and her nan might be out there somewhere.
Which
But
is
then,
lovely.
yeah, gets slightly distracted by other stuff going on. Yeah. And I mean, you also have a gay romance in this one as well, which Donna is sort of shocked to learn that this was illegal back then.
She's got sort of a love triangle in a way with like Ivy and
Yeah.
obviously the two male characters, because Ivy's got a thing for one of them. And they all go off into a sunset on a bus to Brighton.
Yeah, all 5 of them as well. It's a very wholesome ending.
Yeah, it's a cracker, this one.
I really do enjoy this one.
I just think it suits the Series 4 aesthetic with them in the TARDIS, and you can imagine it a bit like Atmos with all the smog around.
Yeah. I mean, you got the bus as well, sort of calling forward to Planet of the Dead.
And, you know, little throwback to sort of Fires of Pompeii with that sort of disaster, you know, like, Donna, I know what you're thinking, Pompeii. Like, it just feels like they're all happening at once, these Series 4 stories, and I like it.
Yeah. It's nice. It has sort of like a cozy setting as well, like with the 50s. Like very much when they're in the bus station waiting room, you can very easily imagine that as they make a cup of tea and such. You've got the wonderful character played by Stephen Critchlow, I believe.
Yeah.
The is it Malcolm something?
Yeah, that rings a bell.
Yeah, Malcolm Wishart. But yeah, he's basically a inventor. Yeah, and he's invented a special type of Hoover vacuum cleaner, which ends up coming in handy for the Doctor as they're facing this swarm of tiny creatures.
They remind me of like the building in Smile where they would just be like full of those nano things.
Yeah.
Sort of has that sort of feel. And I think going back to like the Stephen Critchlow thing before I forget, his character when like he dies, there's a nice little, well, not like midnight things like you never asked for his name, but then we do know his name.
Yeah, it's similar, isn't it? With the character of Alice, who is much less likable.
Oh yeah, chuck her to the, what is it? The fruit? Some I can't remember.
Fumishima.
Yeah, that's it. Fumishima.
Actually, they're on the cast list, aren't they? Fumifugium. There we go.
Fumifugium. There we go.
Yeah.
But I think that this is a prime example of sort of a Doctor Who given sort of a what if spin, like a pseudo historical. It's a good sort of what if Doctor Who putting its own spin on, like, we think this is what happened, and I think that's why I really vibe with this story a lot.
Yeah, but I think it's also, it doesn't take away from the original thing happening though. It's just sort of like, what if something came along and got involved and used it to its advantage, really. Like, they're not the cause of the smog. They're not the reason people are dying. They're just going to make it a whole lot worse and use it to their advantage, these Fumifugium. But it is, it feels the most Series 4 in a good way. I could very much see this having been made at the time, right down to the overly bombastic ending of it. Like, I think that's something that I wasn't quite on board with the first time. But now going back to it, I love that. I really enjoy it. It seemed like a jumping the shark moment at first, but it jumps the shark in the way a 2008 story would for its climax. You can very much see Russell looking at a script going, it needs a bit more at the end here. You need something to really get exciting. Something for the kids in a way. And so
it is dinosaurs. Great.
Yeah, I loved it as an ending. I think, that's definitely something I've come around on with this story. And also, I just love the rest of it, the atmosphere of it all. The it's got base under siege elements to it for a while.
In like the bus station,
yeah. And you can very much just picture this story really well. It's very
especially
visceral.
like in the cinema. I love that stuff in the cinema.
Yeah, like the beams of light shining. Yeah,
you can just see that being done. And Ivy, played by Hot Dodo herself, Lauren Cornelius, should have been a companion. hopefully we can get Tennant and Ivy.
Yeah, like we loved Ivy back in the day, didn't we? We were really on
Still
board
do.
with her becoming a companion, and now not quite, but Laura Cornelius has taken on Dodo instead, so we're still getting her all big finish. So it's close
10th
enough.
Doctor and Dodo confirmed.
Oh, but I love the 50s look she's got going on the cover as well.
Mm. It's all good.
Yeah, but it's just a lot of fun, this last story, really. It's that perfect mix of serious undertones, but not a dark, depressing story. It's got a good amount of fun to it as well, good amount of
There's light and
wholesomeness.
shade within it.
Yeah. Like, it doesn't make light of the seriousness of it, but it also doesn't take itself too seriously. It doesn't drag you down with it.
Yeah.
And so, where does this one fall for you then?
In terms of rating or in terms of like the whole box set?
Both.
I still think this is my favorite.
Mm.
I had such a fun time listening to it. I forgot how good of a story it was. Like I think this was the second time I listened to it. The first time was the vinyl. So it was interesting listening to it not being cut as a vinyl and just experiencing it as one big 1 hour long story.
Where is the cut in it?
When Stephen Critchlow's character gets attacked.
That's a good space for it.
Yeah, it makes sense to cut it there.
Because certainly with some vinyls, they do have awkward cuts, like some of the online, recent wave of them of Ninth Doctor and Darling Universe.
But it's just a cracker, you know. You got some great Tennant and Donna combo action. Just some sort of splitting off to work together in like the Natural History Museum. Like I'm a big fan of a Natural History Museum. I love it. So to have like a bit of a story set there is great, and using good old Dippy, it's every kid's dream, isn't it? Really,
it's almost going back to another unmade story, isn't it, with the Suicide Exhibition?
Yes, yeah.
So not quite as full on as No Place is to the haunted mansion thing, but nevertheless, it's sort of hitting similar vibes, I suppose. It's sort of ticking those same boxes in a way.
How about yourself? Where you were kind of reluctant to reveal what is your favorite of the set. I'm sensing this could be the favorite now.
Yeah, the balance has shifted a little bit here. I think it's 8 out of 10 as well.
Okay.
I'd put it on the same level as No Place, but this now has the edge for me. I think it's just a really fun listen. I just really enjoyed diving into this one. It feels the most 10th Doctor and Donna, I feel. Like, I think with No Place, they don't really have as much of a chance to be themselves because they do have to pretend for the sake of that story.
Yeah.
But this story, it really does feel like full-on 10th Doctor and Donna. I really can imagine this having been made back in 2008. And
I think 1 Mile Down, they're very much split in their own world, in their own events of the story. Whereas they're very much together within this until we get to the Natural History Museum, where you have Donna trying to find like the meteorite and the 10th Doctor trying to find a way of, getting rid of the foe.
Yeah. I mean, they're sort of split up for Act 1 as well.
Yeah, because you get,
He sort of gets a bit of a heroic entrance into the bus depot alongside Ivy, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's true.
But it's just pure vibes, isn't it?
It really is. It is. I mean, again, I think I'll give it a 9. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah, I mean, we've been positive here. So Stylish One has come along with a bit of a different opinion here in the chat, saying, well, actually, I'll read his 1 Mile Down thoughts first. I love 1 Mile Down. It's so much fun. Has a great, solid plot, endearing side characters, wonderful comedy, and is such a brilliant story. 8 out of 10. Yeah, I think the comedy really excels in 1 Mile Down. That's probably the funniest of the 3, perhaps.
Oh, I feel like I had more fun in No Place in terms of
Mm.
comedy
Yeah,
for
that
me.
yeah, that's true. Actually, I think they're both on a very similar level. Hot take: I'm not a fan of Creeping Death, though. My second least favourite 10th Doctor adventures. The characters were great, but I felt the plot was lacking and meandering around too much. 6 out of 10, still fine enough. Creeping Death seems a real Marmite one. Whenever I see people discuss the set, they either put it as the best of Volume 3 or the worst. I've seen it get a lot of praise and a lot of flack. Oh, it's interesting.
Give it another go. I
Yeah.
think that's one thing what we've taken away from doing these is that it's great to revisit things and reappraise things. So hopefully you can find some more good in it, because I think that there is a real good Tennant story there.
Yeah. I think I remember this being James's least favourite.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so that's yeah, it certainly does seem to not quite appeal to everyone, but it's our cup of tea, so we love it for that.
That's just one thing what I find quite interesting is how similar our tastes are. Bar Cold Vengeance.
Yeah, that's a 10th Doctor one where we're a lot more split.
Yeah, but I feel like me and you are pretty much on the same page for most things. You know.
Yeah. I mean, even more so now. Like I've come to,
Yeah,
I've
you've come to my
agree with you
side.
on this one with Creeping Death.
Yeah.
I was sort of wondering after I finished listening, I was thinking, I wonder if he's swapped to No Place now.
I mean, it was close because I feel like I got more out of a No Place because I knew what the story was going for, and I probably jumped and cacked my pants a bit more.
Yeah, I think you were that was like one of the ones you were more interested in revisiting as well, wasn't it?
I think with like the recent filming pictures as well, it felt like I should give this one a go, and it's like the only Big Finish story where we've got the nobles all together.
Yeah, like Wilf just elevates anything really.
I think that's why it's like what Stylish one said, but it automatically becomes like an 8 out of 10 because Wilf's there. And he
Yeah.
just adds something there because you get a nice dynamic about the sort of father and son dynamic, what you get at End of Time with the 10th Doctor and Wilf. Like, it's nice to see that sort of played into it.
Yeah. Yeah, like they're very much paired up a lot more, aren't they? You don't get so much between him and Donna.
And I love it. I'm there for it.
They are brilliant together, those two. David Tennant and Bernard Cribbins. Yeah. Cyrus says, also brilliant world building in 1 Mile Down, one of the best realised Big Finish worlds. Yeah, I think it does come across very clearly that what they're going for.
Yeah. But I think that's pretty much us done in terms of like the review.
Yeah, I mean, what would you give the box set overall?
Probably like an 8.5, I'd say. I think it's a solid set. I think if I was to recommend any of the 3 volumes, it would be this one.
Yeah.
I think this and Dalek Universe, some of the best 10th Doctor content you're going to get on Big Finish. So far, I feel like there's going to be some big things what can overtake it.
Yeah, I think Dalek Universe is definitely a good one to go for if you're like already a fan of Doctor Who in general and like more of a classic fan and not quite on board with the 10th Doctor yet. Whereas this volume 3, it's definitely something for you if you were a fan back in 2008. You're maybe not as big on Big Finish and want to get into the worlds of audio. This is a great starting point.
Especially like No Place, because you've got, you know, pretty much all the familiar elements there. And I think the more familiar elements you have, the more likely you are to connect and engage with a story and visualize. Because I think that's a big thing. If you can't visualize a story, you're kind of stumped.
Yeah, I mean, like it's fairly easy to imagine a haunted house, so you often
it lends itself.
Yeah, like you've got Wilf and Sylvia there, so that's like a good jumping on point. And then after that, you've got the Jadoon in the second story. You know what a Jadoon looks like, and so that sort of helps you to build that world from there. And then by the time you get to the final story, you're already well enough in there to not need anything to hold your hand quite as much with that. And you just have it being fitting the right tone, ticking those right boxes there. So it's a well structured box set in that sense. Definitely a good way to like get new people in.
I feel like this is probably the most designed for new listeners. This one out of the three.
I mean, but then No Place. I'm not sure how friendly that is as someone's first audio.
I mean, it's a blooming good one to start.
It's a good one to start with, but it's not like as standard, I suppose.
No, but I just think that shows the
It shows
way
the
of
strength,
the strength of Big Finish and
medium.
audio. I think, it's not playing it safe like Technophobia. Now, I like Technophobia, but it's night and day, these two stories, I feel.
Yeah, so it's been good looking back on this set, though.
It's weird doing a throwback to Tennant because we're normally like, we cover the Tennant stuff as it comes out, but it's nice to go back and go, that was really good.
Especially since it feels so long ago, since we've had so much Tennant since.
It is amazing.
Oh, Starship One says, I've seen a YouTuber who started listening to Big Finish, but started with No Place. Oh, that's an interesting place.
Yeah.
I know quite a few people started with Ravagers. Like, it's funny to think that Tennant didn't get them on board, but Eccleston did. I feel like that was at a time where Big Finish was so much in the fan consciousness, though, that like people were being pushed more into trying it out.
I think with the lack of Doctor Who on our screens as well.
Yeah, that's true. As we get less and less. And I suppose as well, people are sitting around the house a lot more with that coming out.
Yeah, because it would have been a
No, that came out a year after the pandemic started.
Well, we were still technically we were still technically in lockdown.
Yeah, we were. Nah, I don't think we were in that May.
Yeah, I think it was like June when sort of everything sort of opened up as normal could get. Was it? Yeah, because it was like when season 24 came, I was like, oh, everything opens up that day, but I was like, no, Doctor Who fans are going to stay inside because season 24 is arriving.
Yeah, that might have been it.
But I've got season 22.
Yeah, we finally have a date for that. Actually, we can discuss that pretty quickly.
June 20th. Same day as I think the first Peter Cushing 4K Dalek movie as well. So you wait for one physical media like Doctor Who product to arrive, you get two in the same day. So I know which one I'm going to watch first.
I mean, it's weird thinking how long ago that was announced now would be.
January.
Season 20. Yeah.
And they had like BFI in March. So you thought, oh, we're getting in March, but now it's, I mean, June's fitting, 6th month, 6th Doctor.
Yeah, like the BFI was closer to the original announcement than it was to the release. That's bizarre.
I mean, we might get the next announcement.
Yeah, in the coming weeks.
That'd be nice. I mean, I feel like we've been shafted by at least another box set. I feel like we should have another one coming out this time now, but you know, that's just me being greedy.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, I'm slightly thankful because it means spending less money, but at the same time, you know, you do want more box sets.
At the end of the day, you're gonna get it regardless, so it doesn't matter at this point.
It doesn't hurt as much when it's getting spread out a bit, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, given the amount we throw at Big Finish each month, an extra 40, 45 doesn't seem to dent it that much.
No, that's like just that's like a bundle, isn't it? That price now.
Yeah.
But they're worth it, the collection box sets, and I'm sure when season 22 does drop, we'll do a review or tier list, something like that. Because we always said that we'd do the collection box sets, but we've only done season 14 so far. Technically, we've done season 8. Technically, we've done that.
Yeah, and season 10.
Oh, and season 10. So yeah, we're almost there.
Yeah, we're also ahead of the game a bit. We've done 7, 9, and 11.
Yeah, that's true. And we'll do 25 and yeah.
Starts from our favourite set of standard edition 10th Doctor Adventures covers. So I suppose just loading them up again. I think Series 2 if it wasn't for Infamy of the Zaros. I'd say I'm going to go Series Volume 3 for my...
I say Creeping Death's a good cover. I think that's my favourite.
Yeah, I love Creeping Death's cover. But I think Sword of Chevalier maybe, or is it Chevalier? Chevalier?
Chevalier, I think.
Yeah, I think it's been a while since I listened to that one, but that might be my favourite individual overall. But I'd say when it comes to the set of covers, I think Volume 3 has the edge there.
Yeah.
What's the audio you've struggled most to visualize? Our stylish one. That's an interesting question.
Ooh.
I think there's definitely been a few, but none are popping to mind at the moment.
I feel like I struggled with a bit of Doctor of War. Because I didn't know if it was like traditional Sixth Doctor or Doctor of War when it was like with Perry.
Yeah. Yeah, I can agree.
I
think
one of the
that's
most...
more. Yeah,
Oh,
that was more just visualizing the costume, though, and working out what's going on with the character. But I think other than that, the world around it was quite well done.
Yeah.
So that's what, and you're meant to be a bit confused by that. So I'm not sure that's necessarily a visualization problem. And more just what the story's going for in a way. But yeah, I can see what you're getting at. I think the soundscape for that's brilliant. So I have a lot. We've got no shortage of negative things to say about Doctor of War, but I wouldn't hold that against it necessarily.
Okay, all right, okay. Somebody's changed the tune.
I mean, God of Phantoms sometimes.
Yeah, that is true.
It's not quite what's going on. Same with quite a few of the Philip Hinchcliffe ones, where they get to big bombastic conclusions of it, and it's all going a bit crazy. You're like, what the hell am I listening to? Sometimes.
Yeah. I can't think off the top of my head, which is a bit of a shame. I might just have a little gander at the old Big Finish app just to see if there's anything.
Yeah, you sort of have to flick through them all in your memory and think, nope, nope, nope. Oh, that one maybe. Nope, nope, nope.
Purchases.
Yeah, there's definitely some that I listen to that struggle to visualize.
Nothing's coming to mind at the minute, which is shocking.
Maybe Out of Time 2 at times because of how much jumping around through history it does.
That's a fair comment.
Stars will also ask, which Sixth Doctor audios do you visualize him with in the blue coat? I'd say just the ones he's got the blue coat on in the cover, really. The rest, I just imagine classic 60.
I think that's the same for me, really.
Especially since most stories it will get commented on anyway.
That is true.
Yeah, but it's certainly... Hebe has a fair few snide comments about it in Waterworlds.
Yeah, definitely back to the traditional coat for that.
I mean, was there a reason given for its change? Well, I think it was for real time at first, wasn't it? But...
yeah. But I don't think there was ever given a proper reason. I think it was just to get people more on board with Colin.
Yeah, I think that was... Because that was it done with the BBC as well, wasn't it, for their...
Yeah. It's kind of strange, you think, an audio company getting rid of the visual aspect of the Sixth Doctor's coat.
Yeah. But it was like a flash thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, flash animation, real time was, yeah.
Yeah, so I imagine maybe it was more down to that, just... Because I feel like a lot of back then, it was like almost being ashamed of some of that stuff. Whereas now I think it's really owning it a lot more.
Yeah.
Starch will also ask favourite one-off Big Finish villains. For me, I'd say Stapleton Pepperbridge, played by the brilliant Tony Gardner from The Wrong Doctors, and Major Hayward from City of Spires.
I'm going to have another look now.
Yeah. Flick through again.
In terms of like one-off villains.
He got a new coat because of real time. His other coat was too hard to draw over and over again. Big Finish then just rolled with it. There we go.
I'd
So it was
say
more done.
the scientist character from what is it, Time's Assassin and the False Guardian.
Oh yeah, he's a good one.
He's quite deranged,
Yeah.
so I'd say he's a really good villain. Can't remember the
Yeah.
character's name, but he's good.
Yeah, I think the actor was also in Dalek Universe, wasn't he? In a different role.
But yeah, very good.
I think Jane Asher's character from
Oh yeah, Chase the Night.
Chase the Night.
That's another good one.
The Engineer and the Quest of the Engineer. I don't know whether he's one of the best ones, but I think he's quite well defined for a villain.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much just done for tonight, really.
Yeah.
But a nice sort of short one for us, really. Just a change.
Yeah. I mean, I suppose we're usually talking about 10, 20 audios at a time. Here we just had a quick to flick through and just gush over the 10th Doctor for a little bit longer, really, isn't it? That's.
I don't think we've done too bad, really. I mean, it's always good to gush over Tennant.
I'm certain not going to stop watching him anytime soon. So.
Oh yeah.
Oh yes.
Oh yes.
You'll be careful you don't go into Churchill territory there.
Well, that's a different matter. But yeah, we love our Tennant boy. Most anticipated upcoming audios.
That'd be a good way to end up.
Yeah, self-defense. Tennant.
Yeah, more Tennant. Yeah.
I'm quite excited for the McCoy box set. Silver and Ice. Yeah. And the Benny box set, actually. Very excited for those.
Yeah. Both Cybermen.
I see. I that's one thing I really like about Big Finish is how much they're putting a shine on the Cybermen at the minute. Because like for years it was like you'd get your one Cyberman release and that was it. And whereas like last year, I'd say a good portion, if not all, Cyberman stories were on my top 10. Like Scourge, Return, Out of Time, they were pretty much all there.
Yeah, hopefully we could fit that Scourge vibe again with an upcoming story. Have them feel really like scavengers again. But...
Any ones you're looking forward to?
Oh no, I hate them all. Don't mind any of them.
Damn.
Oh. I mean, Classic Doctor's New Monsters is calling out to me at the moment.
Okay.
I think, even though it is that odd selection, I think the stories seem really good. It seems like they're doing really interesting stuff with them. More for Doctor in there as well, so can't complain there.
Yeah, that's true.
And then, I mean, kind of second Doctor Beyond War Games as well. I feel like I need a trailer before I can really get hyped for that, but I'm curious. I want to know more.
Yeah. All exciting stuff coming up, really.
Out of Time 3, of course.
As well, yeah. More Tennant.
Yeah, there's lots of exciting things on the horizon, really.
Really is.
And then, I mean, go back to the Cybermen, because the Daleks really have taken a back seat in this relaunch, I'd say.
Which is nice.
Yeah, I think it's good to give them a bit of a rest. I mean, it's only really been Time War stuff, hasn't it?
Yeah.
We're getting them in Beyond War Games, actually.
Oh, yeah.
No, it's easy to forget because they're not on the cover.
I mean, there's still time for more Daleks, and I think the Daleks are still upcoming because Stephen Noonan's hinted that we might be getting a first Doctor one.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder for the 8th Doctor, I was sort of like wanting, because that seems to be going back to basics with his relaunch stuff. I was sort of wanting a Cyberman story there. But now, I don't know, because we're getting so many Cybermen stuff with the relaunch, I almost think maybe that's one Cyberman story too many. So I wonder, could we go back to the Daleks there? Because that seems to be very much when you're going back to the comfortable area with the 8th Doctor, I suppose, when you're relaunching him. It seems Daleks very much to go to, such as Blood of the Daleks and Dark Eyes. So.
That is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's have to
But
wait
it's
and
been a
see.
while. Because we've had Time War stuff, but it's not the same, is it?
No, not really.
No, there's a difference between like a Time War Dalek story and a proper Dalek story.
Hmm.
I think time to end it off there then.
Yeah, so thank you everyone for joining us for this nice little throwback to the 10th Doctor Volume 3. Next week, what are we doing next week? Do we know?
We don't yet, I don't think.
We don't. We'll figure that out, and I'm sure we'll surprise you. I think we've hinted at one of the possibilities it could be. We'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah, I think we're also waiting to see what's coming out during the week as well.
That's a big thing, you know. It could be more 10th Doctor goodness. Who knows?
Yeah, we could just continue gushing.
Why not? Let's continue it. You know, Tennant for 14, I say.
There we go. Oh, do you think we could get his face in the title sequence?
Anything's possible.
Anything's
possible. That'll be wholesome.
Yeah.
That's the one thing I want. Just his face in the title sequence. That's the only thing I want now.
Just have a picture of his face be the entire title sequence.
Honestly, the BBC probably think that is the title sequence. Oh, damn. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining us, and I guess we'll see you very soon.
Yes, take care, everyone.
Take care, and yeah, goodbye.